There we are. Welcome, everybody, to another Get Off My Lawn podcast on our new night and time, Thursday night at 8 o'clock Central Time. I know a lot of people are not quite used to this yet, but I know that we'll gain some traction as we go along, and throughout the summer, we'll pick up more and more people as we go. But I want to thank everybody for joining us. And those of you that are catching this on the replay, once this goes over to the audio sides, I really encourage you to come Thursday nights and join us live. You can get in on the commenting. Those of you that are watching us live, you're probably going to figure this out if you're new here. Those of you that are used to it, you know how this works. Drop comments over there in the live chat portion, whether it's Facebook or YouTube. Either way, we will see those comments. We want to interact with you. That's why this is so much better than a TV show or a radio show, because you can scream all you want at the television screen or scream all you want at the radio speaker, but they can't hear you. They don't care what you have to say, or even if they do care, you can't tell them at the time. So we do care what you have to say, and you can tell us right now as long as you're watching us live. So those of you on the replay, make sure that you are catching us live too, so you can join in the discussion. So there will be, I think, a few more people maybe jumping in here in a little bit to join the panel, but we do have some announcements that we need to make first. So we'll kind of get into some of those, and then we'll see who's joining us as we go to the live side. So first and foremost, before I forget, I'm rocking the 2A4E shirt tonight. I got this from diversityshoot.com. Tony Simon's website. The second is for everyone. Tony's coming to Nebraska, and a lot of you have heard me talk about this. We even had a live stream Monday night on the Nebraska Firearms Owners Association page, so you can go check that out. Facebook and YouTube both carried that. But Pat's out there. He's not going to make it in the panel, but glad to have you with us out there listening, Pat. So we did have Tony with us, and NFOA President Trish Harold and myself were there, and we were talking with Tony about what Diversity Shoot is, because a lot of folks out this direction haven't really heard of Tony or Diversity Shoot or what that means. And so we talked about how it started, what it's all about, and how Tony just wants to bring people together, people that maybe thought that they weren't included or didn't feel included or have been told they shouldn't be included in the gun owner community. And so Tony's all about just, saying, hey, I don't care who you are, let's hang out, let's have some fun together, let's maybe break some bread together. And we're all people, so let's act like it. And that's what NFOA is about. I mean, here in Nebraska, we're all about getting the good laws passed, getting the bad laws killed in committee so they don't have a chance to be passed. But that's not all we're about. We're also all about bringing new members in, bringing new people into the 2A family, into the gun owner family, and just bringing communities back together. You can't watch the news, I don't care what news you watch, or get on social media right now without hearing about how, everybody's just against each other. And there's so much, what do I want to say, that we need more unity, right? Because right now we're definitely not a unified country. Well, here's the thing. I look around, if I'm not on social media, if I put the phone down and I turn off the TV and I just look around at real life, I'm not seeing near as much of that as what they're claiming that there is. I don't know how it is where you live, but where I live, people are pretty much willing to get along with other people. If you stay out of my way, I'll stay out of your way. And if you want to be friends and you're nice to me and I want to be friends, I'll be nice to you. And look, we can be friends. We don't even have to agree on everything. So that's what we're all about, is we don't care whether or not we agree with you on what pickup to drive, what color tractor you should buy, any of that stuff. I don't even care if you and I don't agree on 9mm versus 45. I just want you to find out, how cool it is to be a firearm owner, how empowering it is to be a firearm owner, and, just check out what we're all about. So Diversity Shoot's coming up July 25th. And I goofed this up on the other live chat. So July 25th, 2021. I do want to mention that in case somebody's watching this well after the fact. July 25th, 2021, Athena Arms in Bellevue, Nebraska. That is a Sunday, and we're going to try and schedule a few different sessions throughout the day so people can go to church and still make it. They don't miss everything if you're not there in the morning. more details to come because we're still ironing out all the details, but Tony will be on hand. He will be in Nebraska for the first time, I think, in his life. So we want to make sure that we make him feel welcome while he's there. But that's happening. That's one of the biggest announcements. Another announcement that if you've been on the Facebook page or seen the not the video, but just the picture that I posted on the YouTube side here a few days ago, we are in the process of eventually changing the name of the YouTube channel and the Facebook page. And if I do this, you can kind of see there where my face used to be. We're going to be changing our name over to Sandhills Media and maybe revamping the logo just a little bit, just so that it looks kind of fresh. Biggest reason is very simple, not a great big deal, but I am constantly referred to as the Sandhills shooter. And if you talk about the Sandhills shooter, I don't know what it brings to your mind, but in my mind, hey, Defense Dad, we'll say hi here in a minute. In my mind, the Sandhills shooter sounds like the Aurora Theater shooter or the Pulse nightclub shooter, right? Or the Ohio nightclub shooter. I don't want to be lumped in with those murderers. I'm not a murderer. I am a safe, responsible, law-abiding, background check passing citizen. And so I'm going to drop the shooter off of there, and we're just going to call it Sandhills Media. You can call me Sandhills, Sandy. You can call me John. I'm okay with that, whatever you want to call me. I say this a lot. Don't call me late to supper. Otherwise, we'll be fine. So that's going to be happening. We're working on getting the logo done. And once that's happened, then we'll work on getting it switched over on all of the platforms. So that being said, I need some of you to help me if there's any place where I've missed it, like Gunstreamer or Patreon or any of those. Once you start to see the changes, point them out to me. Make sure that I've got plans to get all of those places changed, because sometimes I kind of lose track of where I've got my name out there. So that's pretty much it on the announcements. Real quick here, we will say hello to our guests. So first and foremost, we have Derek LeBlanc in the room. You may recognize him from a few weeks ago when he was here to talk about Project KidSafe. So tonight, he's not here to talk about anything specific on his end. He's just hanging out and going to lend his own version of expertise and advice and commentary to the discussion tonight. So Derek, how you doing?
I'm great. It's going to be riveting.
I hope so. I hope so. And you know a lot of folks, so please go ahead and mash that share button. All of you, please go ahead and mash that share button. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, do it. If you haven't liked the Facebook page, do it, please. And then share this with everybody. Also in the room, we've got coming to us from the capital city of Nebraska, down there in Lincoln. Defense Dad is in the house. What's up, sir?
Howdy, howdy.
Glad to have you back. Long time no talk. We text a lot, but I haven't heard your voice in a while.
Yeah, I was having computer issues. Was my audio sound okay?
You sound good to me.
Okay, cool.
You look good too.
Oh yeah, I'm not turning the camera on.
Well, that's why I said that.
Please go ahead and mash that share button. Was my audio sound okay? You sound good to me.
Somebody's playing back.
You look good too.
Sorry, I'm trying to get this shared.
Oh, that's all right. Just making sure. All right. And before I go along, we've got one more addition who just popped into the back room here. So let's put him on camera or on screen as well. Also from the Star City of Lincoln, Nebraska, we've got the periodic table of Super Mario. Love that shirt. Yeah. Love the hat even more.
You. Oh, you know, I'm in the club, man. I tell you what.
I'm leaving. I already spent half a day with that dude.
I haven't watched your whole video, but I saw that you had one up on Patreon and his face was there. So
it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Travis P11, what's up, sir?
Not much, man. I'm still trying to adjust the fact that you're live on Thursday nights. I'm sorry, man. You're gonna have to keep sending me these reminders.
It's okay. But
no, this is good time.
The fact that you're here, because on Thursday nights it's a lot easier for you. Well, and it's summertime now.
Yeah.
Thursday nights are a lot easier for you to join us.
Yes.
So.
Oh yeah, later on in the week the better for me. So that's cool.
Mm-hmm. And I know that we're going up against Clover right now. I get it. For all of you that have told me that in the past, I'm aware. And I've talked to Clover and he gets it too. I mean, You want to watch his show live? Go watch his show live. Catch this one later. Vice versa.
Gives me something to watch tomorrow, either you or him. It doesn't really matter.
Right.
You just watch those. I don't catch live anyway, so it's all good.
And we're going to timeshare a few of you as far as being in the room or on the panel or whatever, because I know that you're on his sometimes too, and it's all good. We're going to have some fun. So whoever shows up, and it's all awesome. So, all right. I think that's about it for announcements. Oh, that cool hat Travis is wearing. I was going to tell everybody where you can go get that. It is at blackswantactical.com. You can get hats and stickers with that logo. You can get cups, hats, shirts, hoodies, you name it, with 2 different logos to help support my beautiful bride, Sandhills Sweetheart, with the lime green lymphoma ribbon there. So you can get the Her Fight is My Fight, which is the one that I love. You can also get one that says Not Today Cancer. And both versions are out in all of the products. So, like I said, you can get regular hats or trucker hats. You can get hoodies and women's shirts and men's shirts and all kinds of fun stuff. The coffee cup. So go check that out.
Legacy edition.
It's soon to be a legacy edition.
Limited edition, man. I'm telling you.
Yep. The Sandhills Sweetheart stuff can stay, but the Sandhills Shooter stuff will eventually get to where we will pull that. But I'll give people a warning and give you about a month. About 30 days notice to get those orders in before we pull that off the store. But yes, it will be going away sometime. But you can get 10% off your order over there at blackswantactical.com if you use the discount code Sandhills. So make sure you go do that. Also, we are very, very proud to be part of the Self-Defense Radio Network, which is a place where you can find all kinds of fun pro-gun, pro-2A, just pro-patriotic America podcasts over there. Go check those out. They're adding more all the time. You can find cool stuff like Gun Freedom Radio, the Polite Society podcast is on there, Riding Shotgun with Charlie, all kinds of fun stuff. And if I try to list them, I'm going to forget most of them. So you go check them out yourself. SDRN, Self-Defense Radio Network, SDRN.us to go check that out. And then I mentioned this earlier, but we'll just throw that ticker up on the bottom. Please, if you're here live, leave those comments. We want to know that you're here. We want to interact with you. But more importantly, we want to be able to say hi to you and let you know that we're happy that you're here. So we've got that. And then last, but certainly not least, we do want to give a little bit of a shout out to tonight's sponsor. With some sponsors, we're able to go live on more than one place at a time. So whether you're catching us live on YouTube or Facebook, that is possible in part because of Decoding Firearms. Decoding Firearms, an easy-to-read guide on general gun safety and use. Decoding Firearms is a comprehensive guide to aid new shooters and veterans alike to get up to speed on the safe use of guns. With over 115 illustrations and 266 pages of content, this book is very comprehensive. If you're interested in learning more about decoding firearms, you can visit johnpetrolino.com/decoding-firearms. Travis is going to hold up the actual copy. I've got one. I don't know if you can see it behind my microphone, but it's right there on my desk as well. Yours is autographed. Mine is not. That's even better. Very cool. So Decoding Firearms is available for sale on Amazon as a paperback or a full color Kindle version. So the paperback pictures are black and white. The Kindle version, the pictures are full color. Be sure to pick up a few copies for your friends and family members that want to get into the shooting world. Decoding Firearms, get yours today. Not trying to pat myself on the back, but a few weeks ago, well, a couple months ago now, I was able to take a new shooter out to the range. He bought his first handgun. And I didn't realize that aside from shooting a rifle a few times for deer season, he never really got much into shooting. So he had never fired a handgun before. So I didn't realize that I was helping him break into that world until, we were out there on the range. So I'm not an instructor, but I did my best to give him a little bit of safety instruction and show him how his handgun works. And then later on that night, I was talking to my wife, and it's her cousin is who this fellow was. We decided, we're going to send a copy of this to him. So you can go to Amazon and you can actually have this sent to anybody's address. You don't have to get it at your house first and then give it to them. You can have it shipped direct to them. So that was pretty cool. And he got that and he was pretty thrilled too. So it's great for somebody who's not used to all of the terms, the nomenclature, the safety rules and all that. but it's great for somebody who is, because some of that stuff, I mean, you can't hear it, read it, see it, practice it too often. So very cool. So thank you, John Petrolino, for helping us out so that we can go live multiple places at once tonight. All right. Well, with all that, I think we're going to have some fun, get into some craziness here a little bit. Come on, computer, catch up. This is what I meant to do. I meant to have this. Okay, so it wants to rebel on me, of course. I had this open once. Hey, look at that. We do have Defense Dad's smiling face on there now. All right. So all right. Back in March, April 8th it was. Joe Biden was on doing that thing he does where he runs his mouth, and sometimes he stays with the teleprompter and sometimes he just goes kind of off. And this is part of what he said, and I'm going to read this. So I am quoting here. He said that today, and I'm quoting, today we're taking steps to confront not just the gun crisis, but what is actually a public health crisis. Nothing I'm about to recommend in any way impinges on the Second Amendment. They're phony arguments suggesting that these are Second Amendment rights at stake from what we're talking about. But no amendment to the Constitution is absolute. You can't you can't tell fire in a crowded movie theater and call it freedom of speech. From the very beginning, you couldn't own any weapon you wanted to own. From the very beginning that the Second Amendment existed, certain people weren't allowed to have weapons. So the idea is just bizarre to suggest that some of the things we're recommending are contrary to the Constitution. He said that. And if you are watching this, wherever you're watching this, there should be in the episode description, there's a link to the transcript of that very speech. So you can fact check it. You can go read it for yourself, all the crazy stuff. It was his presentation of all the measures that he wants to put into place through Congress, through executive fiat or alphabet agencies or whatever, to try and, trample on your rights and mine. So that got me to thinking. I mean, obviously I first heard that and I was yelling at the TV. I knew he couldn't hear me. That's why this is better. So, the first thought, of course, is, well, yeah, there were people who couldn't own a gun when the Second Amendment was first drafted. Those people were called slaves, or they were called, at the time, Indians, the Native Americans, the indigenous peoples. There were groups who couldn't own a gun because they didn't want the slaves to rise up, right, and overthrow their masters, their owners. And since then we've kind of figured out, hey, that's not the way that humans actually should treat another human. That's terrible. So that got changed. But even after slavery was abolished, certain people, namely former slaves, couldn't own firearms even then, and neither could the Native Americans. They had to disarm and be put onto reservations, or else they were pretty much wiped out. In some cases, flat out massacred by government agents, army, what have you. And so that was the first thought that I had is, yeah, there were people that couldn't own a gun. They were slaves, or they were natives. But then I got to thinking about this a little bit more, and I thought, we can have a discussion about this, and maybe the average person hasn't just sat down to think about how completely bogus, but not only bogus, how completely dangerous that line of thought could be. So we're going to open this up. Right now, there's only 4 of us. I don't think we have to worry about going around the horn. We can all kind of take turns. But I'm going to say right now that every amendment is absolute. I don't think that there is any wiggle room the way that any of them are written. Now, are there exceptions? Sure there are, for felons who don't have rights. Correct. So we're not going to put people who have made choices that cause them to have their rights taken away. We're not going to include them in this discussion. But for the rest of us whose life choices have not caused us to lose any of our rights, then the Constitution clearly states, in my mind, that we have these rights and the government can't touch them. But I'm not just talking about the Second Amendment. We can have, obviously, that's why we all know each other, because the argument about the Second Amendment and whether or not it's absolute, I mean, that's what we all have devoted a lot of our time and energy and passions to. But let's talk about some of the other amendments. How about the 13th Amendment? Is that one absolute? Or is there still a time that it's okay to legally own another human being still? I mean, that one's just crazy, right? So, whoop, hold on here. Now I'm the one that's making the noises. So not only that, but I mean, 19th Amendment. You guys remember that one? Said that women can vote. It's not absolute according to Biden. So some of you women, I guess, you can't vote. Because Biden said so.
Let's be very clear. So you guys can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay. So when he's saying no amendment is absolute, he's specifically talking, and I don't care what anybody says, he's specifically talking about number 2, Second Amendment, and the First Amendment, to be quite honest with you, unless you agree with what he has to say.
Absolutely.
So everything else is
that he referenced in his speech.
Yeah. So him and quite honestly, the Democrats and the people in the power in this country right now, they solely believe in the First Amendment if it's on their side. It's all over social media, everything else. As soon as you stand up for something that doesn't have to do with the liberal end of things, you're squashed. You're knocked off social media. You're just censored no matter what. It's evident. You watch the news, any news broadcast. It is obvious how it's all, and I guess this is media, not government, but still, it's all influenced by the same people. If you're on our end, conservative, you're pro 2A, pro Second Amendment, all that kind of stuff, anti a lot of the liberal stuff on it. They don't care about your opinion, and that's just how I see it.
No, I agree.
What we saw today, I had an alert pop up on my phone when I went to comment on something, and it says basically I was exposed to extremist content, and I kind of had fun with it all day. I had lots of engagement off of that post and lots of good memes. But I put out something that I wanted people to kind of think about, and I think it resonated well with people. But we should be talking about regulating social media the way we do firearms. There's no reason that you should be able to have this kind of power on our society without some kind of regulation. And if we want to talk about regulating our firearms, we should be talking about, regulating that platform as well. I mean, it's arguably just as dangerous as a firearm. If we look at the data, there's probably data that would support that, social media could be a little bit more damaging than our firearms if not used properly. And so I think it's time that we push our senators and our congressmen to make a stand on behalf of Americans that, social media doesn't get to pick and choose who the winners are in this country just because they believe or disagree with that, opinion. So,
well, and we could have a whole night's worth of discussion about that topic too. But I mean, I'll try to simplify here what's happening. And most of you listening and watching probably are already aware of what's happening in social media, but they're trying to straddle the fence and be both a platform and a publisher at the same time. Nope. If you're a platform, you're a public platform, like a town square. You can't be censored in the town square as long as you are saying things that are either true or they're your opinion. The First Amendment protects your speech. Doesn't matter what you're saying. You cannot be censored in a town square. But at the same time, the town cannot be held liable for what you say in the town square in a public place, in a public forum. And so that's what the platform side is that you can't sue Facebook or Twitter or any of these other social media companies, Google, YouTube. You can't sue them because somebody said something you don't like. So they do have that protection from the courts. But on the flip side, we've also got them acting like publishers. A publisher, let's say it's New York Times. New York Times is a publisher. They get to determine what does and does not get printed in their paper because they're a publisher. They have to have that kind of discretion because they are liable for what gets printed in their publication. So if they print a story that ruins somebody's reputation and it ends up not being true, they can be sued for a libel case, and they are responsible for that. They're liable for it. Liable, not libel. I use those words together, but hopefully you're following me. So Facebook and YouTube, Twitter, all these places, they want to have that protection from being sued. But at the same time, they also want to have the power to censor or pick and choose what gets put up there and what doesn't. And it's the only phenomenon in existence right now that has both of those protections. And it shouldn't be that way. Dennis Prager took, I believe it was Google or YouTube, to court and lost. Supreme Court wouldn't hear that appeal. And so not sure where we go from here, but I think you're right, Derek. I think that we need to have it attacked from a legislative standpoint. Real quick here, I want to welcome in another person who has joined us here. We've got Squibload coming from the great state of Michigan. What's up, sir?
I feel outnumbered.
It's okay. It's all right. You're not the only non-Nebraskan this time, so at least you got help.
Okay.
So, real quick, we didn't. Of course, you weren't able to comment on some of the other stuff that we've said. So, I don't know how long you've been listening, Squib. Do you have anything you want to kick in yet at this point?
Okay, so I'm gathering from what little bit I heard that you're talking about the whole YouTube has protections that it shouldn't have by law. It's either one thing or another, and it's acting like both.
Yeah, that's not the topic. It's just a little side rant that I was on, but yeah.
Oh, what's the topic?
You can go ahead. We're talking about Biden saying no amendment is absolute.
Oh, yeah, I disagree with that. But whatever. The whole YouTube thing, okay, YouTube's a private business, and I think they should be able to do what they want, whether I like it or not. Mm-hmm. I don't think they should be afforded the protections that they're afforded if they're going to censor what is going to be out there. However, the main reason I hear people complain about it is that it's about money. That's all it's about.
Sure it is.
You don't really hear a lot of channels that aren't monetized, that don't care about being a capitalist or any of that stuff, complain about it. Mm-hmm. You just hear the people going, they took my money. So I have no sympathy.
Yeah. Nope. And that's okay too.
Well, and I apologize. I kind of took it down the social media part, but getting back to his speech, and we're still keeping it kind of G-rated here, right?
Yeah, we're still keeping it PG. So please cut out on any cussing.
All right. So that's going to be hard.
It's hard, right? We get fired up about this stuff. I know.
So, and I watched the speech for the, again, I mean, I caught blurbs. I was on vacation last week, so I kind of stayed off of the news, that kind of stuff. But I watched the whole thing from start to finish today just to get caught up on it. And the crap that he is allowed to say just because he's a president, like, for one, let's attack the part where he says, what was it? 90% of the guns confiscated in violent crimes are sold by 5% of the, I might be off on the percentage a little bit, but of gun dealers. Where in the hell are they getting this information? I mean, the only thing I can think of that's even halfway, let's say 1/8 of the way true, is those were sold to legal gun owners that were stolen. You don't have 90% of guns that are confiscated in crimes coming from FFL dealers. I don't care how they want to skew
You can make the data say whatever you want. They can find one county with one example of that and make that the blanket example they use for everybody.
But they're saying this. Yeah, they're saying this freaking malarkey. Sorry,
so
but they're
not lying, but it's kind of stretching the truth a bit.
Yeah, but they get everybody who believes everything on the news, and oh my God, the president said it. It has to be true. Holy crap!
Yeah. When we don't contest it, it becomes the truth, and so
but
that's the struggle that we have.
We're painted as extremists, right? Today we are. We're painted as conspiracy theorists. deplorables. I mean, fill in the blank on what we're called, but if we do contest it, it's just, well, you just want, innocent people to die.
No.
Those of us that make our own firearms are now labeled as terrorists.
Well, and that's where I thought Defense Dad was going, Travis, was when they had here, it's been a few weeks back now, but the big push, the big focus for a hot minute was the ghost guns, or the quote unquote ghost guns, because there is no such thing as a ghost gun. And don't cross the streams if you ever do build a ghost gun. But aside from that, that's a Ghostbusters humor for those young people who didn't get it. So what I thought Defense Dad was going to bring up was how the statistics that they were hammering on for their bill introduced to ban 80% lowers, make them an FFL item. So you have to have a 4473 even for your 80% lower, because they were talking about how many guns recovered from crimes are quote unquote ghost guns. But if you get the real info, even from that, I think they were only talking about Los Angeles County, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
But not only that, but they also counted guns that were stolen and had the serial number filed off, not guns that never were serialized. That is a drop in the bucket compared to the ones that the stolen firearms that somebody filed off the serial number or grounded off, what have you. So it was untraceable. That is the real culprit. So again, tell me how somebody who buys an 80% lower takes the time and effort to learn how to mill it themselves and finish it out, and then build their own rifle or pistol from the ground up, literally from the receiver up. Anybody who's doing that, I mean, yeah, there may be one or two people out there who are doing it for bad purposes and selling them illegally, but there's already a law against that.
Oh, you mean the cartels? Yeah.
Those two, right?
Yeah, you've got, I mean, granted, so I'm going to just say that probably does happen, but the overwhelming majority, so it costs, I don't care what people say, it's not cheaper. Like those people are getting guns to commit crimes. They're buying stolen guns, like you said, with the serial numbers that are filed off of the gun, and they're buying it out of a trunk for $100 to $200. Sure. They are not spending $500 to $600 to build a gun that they're just going to do in a crime and toss away or throw in the river or whatever. Criminals aren't stupid. They're criminals. They want to make money. They're not gonna go spend that kind of money for that. It's a bunch of crap.
You and I and everyone on this panel, and probably a large portion of the people listening right now, understand that's way too much work to put into something that you're just going to pitch. Right? I mean, you don't spend that kind of time, effort, money on a one-time use deal that you use it in whatever crime it's designed to commit, and then, like you said, throw it in the river, get rid of it, dump it wherever, conveniently lose it at a dumpster so that Secret Service has to go find. Wait, no, never mind, that was somebody else. So yeah, that's too much time and effort and money to put into something that is for all intents and purposes disposable. So yeah, I mean, either steal a gun or buy a hot gun for next to nothing and then use it, dump it, go get another one. Right. So
yeah, but
hey, you can't do that. That we're live, Travis. You can't do it. I'm going to have to turn off your camera.
That's not a firearm.
Can't tell.
It's a receiver blank.
Can't tell.
All right. Sorry.
but I believe you. But for those YouTube and Facebook people out there, that was not a firearm. It was not a finished lower.
No, not at all. It's a paperweight.
That's all it is. It's just a
paperweight.
I hope you're being facetious.
To a point. But you know what? With everything that's going on, I mean, I to be honest, Squib, sometimes I want to tempt the overlords a little bit and be like, toe that line. And then other times I have a lot of fun doing this and I don't want turned off. So I'm not saying that I'm willing to do whatever they say do, but at the same time, I mean, that's a pretty easy rule to follow to not get shut down. So I just assume not get shut down. I can do this other places. I can't reach people like I can here, though. So I am being facetious, but I'm also a little bit serious at the same time. But it's still laughable. It's a completely asinine thing to even have a discussion about. That you can't put that, that finished lower receiver on screen. So
I think the problem I have is the double standard. We had the previous president, if he came out and said something along those lines, there would be a firestorm. Yet, when the current president says something like that, it's like media silence. It's just hypocritical. The fact that we're applying the law, not the same. Hunter Biden, you violated a 4473 form. You should be in jail. It's up to 10 years in prison, $250,000 fine. So.
No, I agree. But the thing is that Joe Biden's not saying anything in speeches now that people haven't been saying on those media outlets for years. And so it's not even, in my mind, it's not even as much media silence as it is just, they're a united front, all hawking the same brand of misinformation, because, for the most part, it's all coming from the same places. And so, it's just crap.
You can fast forward to last week when he brought up the F-15s and nukes. That's
which has been going on out in the chat.
Because you're basically threatening law-abiding gun owners. You're violating due process rights by the Fourth Amendment rights by threatening with a nuclear weapon. And
he wasn't threatening to use nuclear weapons and F-15s on the American public. People misinterpreted what he said.
I agree with Smith. He didn't overtly threaten that.
Fair enough.
The point that he was making, though, is that the quote unquote gun nuts, or whatever they want to call us, the basket of deplorables, running around in plate carriers carrying semi-automatic rifles, are no match for the United States military. We're seriously outgunned. He thinks outmanned, whatever is the case. And that was the point that he was trying to make. And I understand that. But to even bring that up, look how Swalwell got blasted for it when he brought it up during the primary campaign. I don't think that was the thing that sunk him, but it didn't help him any to have mentioned that back then. Well, now Biden's doing it.
And he kept, everything he did, he kept referring to what responsible gun owners would do. So responsible gun owners is a, first off, that's he can interpret however he wants to, but gun owners, overwhelming majority, they're not trying to overthrow the government. They're not trying to go out and kill everybody like everybody thinks. Responsible gun owners are trying to protect their homes, their families, their friends. Participated in shooting sports. It's a hobby for a lot of us. It's a way to get out and get outside and do things. The image that they portray, and just because he's a president, and Derek's got a point. If Trump would say any of this kind of stuff, and first off, I was not 100% Trump supporter. I've never been 100% supporter of most presidents, just because there's always some things I disagree with about it. You're not going to completely agree with everything. But if Trump would say something, all of a sudden he was a liar no matter what he did. And in a speech, Biden, because he's now president and in the majority, he can spew things that are just bold-faced lies. And because most of the liberals and everything believe him, it's become fact and everything else. It's like he's a saint to supposedly over half the country. And it's just ridiculous. When are we ever going to, and it hasn't happened in the last several elections, when are we going to get a president that speaks the truth?
No politician will ever do that. Don't ever.
They barely answer questions anyway. We
had a non-politician
questions, man.
Yeah, we had a non-politician.
I know
the media hated him.
I know they're going to dodge him, but
answer a question. Just answer the damn question. I would respect them more if they would just answer the question.
I'm stumbling over. Yeah,
even if I disagree.
I'm stumbling over my words just a little bit because I'm trying not to cuss. And
thank you.
I'm usually a pretty calm and collected person, but my God, the crap that's going on in this country right now, I have to raise my daughter in this crap. And I have to explain it to her.
We'll tell her
something kind of interesting about the
teach her about the Constitution.
Oh, go ahead.
Teach her about the Constitution. Teach her the truth. None of this stuff. We're in a really good spot. You're looking forward to the midterms. I saw a post on AmmoLand today about how they're losing support for gun control up in DC, and there was a survey done, which I think is, I think they're concerned about losing seats in 2022. And I think that's going to be a good opportunity for us to pick up some seats if done properly, and it'll help protect our two-way rights. And so I think that's where we should be kind of focusing there is finding people that can win in 2022.
And then having discussions like this that just put a spotlight on how completely absurd a comment is, like no amendment is absolute. And I'm going to steer this back a little bit because we can talk all night about how dumb that comment is, but there may be somebody out there listening that I want anybody to be able to understand why we think this is so dumb, and get back to talking about some of these other amendments, because again, I mean, we could pull out any one of them and compare them, and they're absolute. I mean, Derek, earlier you mentioned, and so did Blitz out in the YouTube chat here a while back, that they don't think that the Fourth Amendment is absolute, and that they do things all the time that violate that, which when stop and frisk was a thing in New York, the courts even said that the Fourth Amendment is absolute, not in those words specifically, but they said that you can't stop somebody who looks suspicious and pat them down to see if they are carrying something they shouldn't carry. That violates our Fourth Amendment rights. And stop and frisk. Now, let me get into dangerous waters here when I say this, and hear me out. Stop and frisk would go a long way to preventing crime, would it not? I mean, if we made it legal to just randomly search people's persons, your automobile, your house, whatever it is, if that protection wasn't there in the Constitution, saying that the government, the police can't do it, then we would root out a lot of these terror cells, maybe gangs, whatever it is, right? But again, that violates our civil rights. We can't do it. You can't do it to anybody without probable cause or a warrant. There's a reason for that, because we are not Nazi Germany, and Lord willing, we never will be. So we don't want to get into Gestapo sort of tactics or Stalinist Russia tactics, where people don't have that kind of protection like we do here. And so the Fourth Amendment is absolute. The fact that you can, how do I say this? A duly sworn in peace officer with probable cause can search or seize, correct? But probable cause is also mapped out in black and white terms, and officers are trained in how to use their discretion to apply those black and white terms, or with a warrant. When a judge has signed off and said, yes, I agree with your version of probable cause, go ahead and go in there, and look where you need to, take what you need to, whatever is the case, to build the case against this suspect. Those don't mean that the Fourth Amendment is not absolute. That means that the government recognizes that there are times that we do need to go into somebody's private area, their person, their house, whatever. But again, checks and balances. You
just defeated your argument that the Second Amendment is absolute then.
Well, no, every amendment's absolute, though. We have checks and balances to back up the amendments, not to defeat them. Because without the checks and balances, then the amendments wouldn't be absolute, would they?
Okay,
that's why we have checks and balances.
They can't do search and seizure unless they have probable cause. Hence, it is not absolute.
The thing is, if they violate those rights, and there are consequences.
The Second Amendment is absolute, but we all agree that you should have to be a legal adult or a legal citizen in order to buy a gun, or not a felon.
The Second Amendment's absolute,
right?
Says
if
who?
You're a felon,
Says
you don't
who?
have that right. If you're a felon, you're still stripped of those rights.
Well, let's go there then. You brought that up earlier. Barrett Coney, she had an opinion back in the day. We're talking about nonviolent felonies, which, say what you will, she really made sense. And, when it comes to, if we're going to be an absolutist, right?
Sure.
Felons should still have that right to have a firearm, And so I do see her point of view there. I think, we're kind of getting off topic when we're talking about felons, because I think you're putting yourself in a position where you're devaluing a human, right? Just because they might not have the same rights because of a felony conviction doesn't mean their life's less valuable to us, right? And so I think that's why,
that can be dangerous territory. Unless there is evidence uncovered that said that they were wrongfully convicted, I don't devalue them as a human being. I devalue them as a person who makes good choices. The choices that they made, they were well aware, or they should have been well aware. Ignorance is no defense of the consequences, one of which is losing some of your constitutionally protected civil rights.
You can also get a felony expunged, and why so many people don't do it. And I don't want to hear about money, because money it's how much do you want to make? How hard are you willing to work?
Exactly.
So
exactly.
For now we're still capitalist, but you're right. You can get that taken off, but a lot of people don't know how, or
that ain't my problem that they're ignorant.
And you know what? I mean, again, that'd be a whole nother night's topic, but a lot
maybe
of
we should start some outreach.
Are under the they're under the, how do I say it? Under the misimpression that that they're being held back, right? That they can't do it simply because of, the neighborhood they're from, or whatever social construct you want to put in there, whether it's race or sex or whatever it is. I'm not saying that none of that happens. I'm saying that Squib's right. I mean, we've got just example after example of people who started out with nothing and built themselves up on their own hard work and merit and talent. So yeah, how bad do you want to work for it? How bad do you want it? Everything comes down to how bad do you want it, doesn't it?
I'm okay with a constitutional amendment being absolute. I am totally fine with that. And if we feel that it might make more sense to limit what an amendment allows the government to do or not do, then we simply write another amendment.
Which
it's
is
like prohibition. We outlawed the distribution, the manufacture and distribution of drinkable alcohol is what we did. And then later we repealed it. So if they want to say that the Fourth Amendment says you can't, even if you're a officer of the law, you can't just search somebody on probable cause, then you write another amendment that goes, we're going to amend the Fourth Amendment to say that you can search if you have a warrant or probable cause, right? Something like that. If they want to say the Second Amendment is not absolute, then they write a new amendment saying the Second Amendment does not apply to X, Y, or Z. Go write the amendment.
That is the correct process.
Go write the amendment.
Exactly.
And any president or congressperson who doesn't have the courage to say, let's do a convention, right? A convention, and I'm getting behind this bill to write this up so we can just handle this once and for all. If you don't have what it takes to do, then you shouldn't be up there saying, we're going to take away your rights, willy-nilly here or there.
Well, and I had that. Well, it wasn't really a discussion.
I think part of it is we have a lot of elected officials up there that do not understand the constraints of government because of the Constitution. And I don't think they understand the oath, and I think they are trying to get away with as much overreach as they possibly can until they're checked in the courts. I think
too many of them have sworn an oath to uphold a document they've never read or don't understand if they have read it. And so that's what it comes down to is, you know how many Americans think that this is a list of things that we can't do?
Nope. Doesn't work that way.
It doesn't, but how many Americans think that it is, that this is a list of things that you can and can't do, that the government lets you do or doesn't let you do.
Then
And
we're
it's
doing
not.
it
It's
wrong.
a list of things that the government can and cannot do.
Because we have platforms and we should be educating the masses about what this truly means.
That's why we're here. Is I want you, and for those of you that can't see us because you're on the audio side, Derek and I both have a pocket constitution near our computer that we just held up on camera. So, I mean, it doesn't take long to read this thing. If you've got a couple hours, I mean, even if you don't have a top-notch reading level, I mean, you can knock that out in about 3 hours time. And most of it is fairly straightforward. A little bit of it, even I need to read twice to understand, but it was written in such a way, it wasn't written in legal speak. It was done that way on purpose. They wanted anybody who picked it up to be able to understand it and everything that's in it and what it actually says, because they wanted, at the time, they wanted the citizens to understand the limitations on the government that they had just created. So, but earlier today on Facebook, I did have somebody tell me, and I don't know if he was being honest, the conversation went nowhere. But he just said that, the 18th Amendment was not absolute, because then the 21st Amendment repealed it. And I said, but until the 21st Amendment was ratified, was the 18th not absolute? Was it not illegal to create and sell liquor? I mean, until the 21st Amendment, like we were just talking about, repealed it. And then now that's absolute. Now it's legal to do such a thing. So again, absolute. The 13th Amendment that freed the slaves is absolute. You cannot own another human being here. Does it happen? Yes, sadly it does. There are human traffickers to this day. Is it illegal? It is illegal. It is not okay to do it, and the Constitution says so. Is it okay for women to vote? The Constitution says that women have suffrage now. Can we tell a woman that she can't vote simply on the fact basis that she's a woman? No, not on that fact. That is not legal to do. It is the law that women can vote just like men. And the way that society is going, there may well be an amendment that repeals, or at least an amendment to the 19th Amendment that says, and I'd have to reread it to get the right wording on it right now, but with gender becoming the hot topic that it is, I mean, there may be legislation one day that to address the fact that it needs to just say that, gender has no bearing on it, not that women can vote. So, I mean, that may happen one day. I don't know if it will, but again, there's a process for this, because amendments are absolute. If you want to change them or get around them, you have to make it law. You have to amend the Constitution. So in my mind, it's absolute. There are a few things that are absolute. First Amendment is absolute. And what Biden said or tried to say is the argument that we hear so often: you cannot yell fire in a crowded theater. But I just want to go on record, and I've done this before. If I'm in a theater and you're in a theater and we're watching the same movie at the same time in the same theater, and you see flames or even smell smoke, would you please yell fire? Because I guarantee I will. If there is a fire, it is okay to yell fire in a crowded theater or any other public place, because there's a fire. Now, if there isn't one and you create a panic, then you should be held liable. There are consequences for that. But the First Amendment is absolute because it does not protect the way that you use words. It protects the words. And nobody is advocating to take away the word fire.
So, I'm saying figuratively, so you bear with me here. He is yelling fire in a crowded theater because he's using shock value to get people fired up.
He's trying to create a panic. That is the tactic of the. I never know if it's the right term to say left or liberals or Democrats. I mean, I'm just going to say the anti-gun people are using that tactic, yes, to create a panic where there shouldn't be one. And unfortunately, with red flag laws and everything else that are happening, people are getting hurt. But yet we have no recourse. We can't hold the government liable for such a thing.
Well, and it just kind of hits close to home because so I was on vacation last week, right? And they're doing all this stuff that's trying to hinder our ability to protect our families. Would y'all agree?
Yes.
By doing this kind of stuff. So for the first time since I actually started carrying a gun, I was in a position where I almost thought I was going to have to draw my gun last Friday. Luckily, we were able to get out of the situation. What it was is, in this case, just not to create shock value or anything, but we were in a touristy area of a town, and there was literally a crazy homeless dude. He went through the outdoor cafe. He was overturning tables. He was smashing glasses. He got a hold of a beer bottle, broke it, was brandishing it, was slashing at the air at people. He got within 20 feet of me and my daughter. I'm not going to lie, my hand was on the gun, but I did not pull it. I was able to get her and first off her and me out of the situation. But this kind of crap is the reason that you and all of us carry a gun or held a gun to protect ourselves. And luckily, you didn't have to do it, but they're trying everything they can to say we're evil for wanting to do this kind of stuff. So stuff like this happens. And again, I'm not trying to be shock value, but it really hit close to home, all the stuff they're doing, because I was put in that situation, and thank God I didn't have to pull the gun, but I was ready to.
Yeah, but see, that's kind of subjective. People will judge it different ways, especially if they're not there. Like the situation you described, I'd go hands on. I wouldn't even pull the gun unless I hit him in the head with the gun, but I'm different. Now, I'm not going to say fry him, send him up the river, but you got to understand that people who don't understand why people carry a gun, or the people out there who carry a gun lawfully, but they represent us poorly, that it doesn't do us any favors. There are tons of people out there that say all kinds of stupid things, irresponsible things that they would never do. There are people out there, drag them back in the house and all that stuff, right? And it doesn't help our situation. Here's the thing. If you want to complain about the people out there believing everything that some idiot politician says on national TV as if it was the word of God, or if you want to complain about people not wanting to take the time to know their history and know their laws and to be able to have a basic understanding of the Constitution, or any of that other stuff, there's not a whole lot you can do about that. But being a good ambassador helps make this stuff mainstream. It makes this stuff, it dispels all the media myths, the movie myths, all the hype, even the myths from our community, or the people who say they're in our community, but they're really in the gun culture. They're not in the 2A community or 2A culture. I think I'm going to start changing my language there. Rokal brought up a good point about it's not really a community, it's more of a culture. And I started thinking about it and going, he has a point. Yeah. But the thing is, if you're a bad ambassador, you don't do us any favors. That's sometimes why I'm critical of some of the other people on YouTube sometimes. I'm not trying to push buttons or create drama, to build my analytics, unlike them who are purposely trying to create drama. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. They don't care about all of our constitutional rights. What they care about is getting compensated. And if they can be a bad ambassador and that's going to get them views, they're no better than the mainstream media out there lying about things, coming up with skewing the data in order to push their narrative, or backing up a politician who's doing the same thing.
You leave instructor zero out of this, mister.
Well, I'm just saying that what we can do on an individual basis is so simple and so passive, but so many people either don't want to see it or fail to see it or whatever it is. I'm not saying, we'll all be on best behavior for a year and we'll win the whole world. No. And there are some people that no matter what you say, that relative, that family member, the coworker, whatever it is, if you actually pick the right time to say something, you're not going to reach them. You might even push them away. That's a risk you take. And you even take a risk even bringing it up. It's probably better if they bring it up. But the thing is, the more you can do just being who you are, I think that's more effective than just, I don't know. In the past 2 weeks, I've heard a lot of people get on YouTube and say some really angry, potentially violent things. And these are my friends, and I know them, and they're not these sorts of people. And it's like, really? Where is this coming from? All because Joe Biden made 2 or 3 speeches?
So
well, I think people are finally at a point where they're putting a line in the sand, and whether it's if it's the right thing to do or not, I think it's everybody's kind of on edge right now, and I think we lack leadership, and that we're seeing that from the top down, and it's not necessarily in the White House; it's all across the board. I mean, look at the NRA. The NRA is a mess. And so we as gun owners and people that are in the gun culture, right, are looking for leadership. And there's a lot of false prophets out there. I totally get what Squib's saying. I'm watching Blitz in the comments, and Blitz has some really good points as well. I think we just need a common direction to go to focus, so we can bring everybody in line.
Well, and I can kind of get on with what Squib's saying too. Like, there's so many people out there that the only reaction they ever have is "shall not be infringed," or
they're doing it every day.
They're like cold dead hands.
The bumper,
but they don't have the conversations and that sort of thing. So those are the bad ambassadors. You've got guys like you, John, and Travis, and I'm not going to say me because I don't get political on my channel. I just kind of do my stuff. But project the 2A in a good light. Educate people. Yeah, I mean that's what we got to do. There are too many people that are just saying, like you say, the bumper sticker stuff, and those are the ambassadors that I don't want people to. But those are the ones get the press.
And see, I'll push right back. I don't want a leader. I'm going to judge and criticize every leader until one of them doesn't capitulate or just turn into what we've always had. See, there's lots of people out there that go, we all just need to get together once, and we all just need to pool our resources and work together as one. And then what they don't say in parentheses, what they don't is under me. We're going to do it because if we all sat down in a room and said, all right, what are we going to do first? And you guys say, well, we're going to go after the NFA. And I go, no. And you guys go, no, we're doing the NFA. And I go, no, we're not doing the NFA first. All right. So I've got to now do what you say. No, how does that, you see what I mean? No matter what it is, we're all individuals, and we all have different reasons we're in this. We have different experiences, different amount of time we've been in this. Some people are just doing this for profit. Don't fall for it. Okay. And that's just the way it is. But when we have this thing where we've got to have a leader and we've all got to do it, work together and stuff, it won't work. It won't work. So how are we going to be effective if we're all going in different directions or we're in small little cliques and groups? We can still be effective that way. But I think that you're going to have, okay, look, we just complained about the fact that people will watch the 6 o'clock news and believe everything they say and not do any critical thinking, right? Well, that's exactly what will happen if you have one person telling all of us how and what and where we need to be and do, and we're going to be no better than the people we complain about. I think we're stronger as individuals working towards a goal. Maybe we're driving in a different route to get there, but we're getting there, and we're making stops along the way and making a difference at every stop we go to. At the end of the day, this fight will never be over. There are those people that seem to think if the Supreme Court just makes one ruling, it's all over and done with, and I can sit back and eat Cheetos. And that's not the case. This will never. Our kids and our grandkids and our great grandkids will be doing this if they have as much passion as we do. Okay, this will never be over.
Half the issue that we have right now is whenever we get any kind of victory, people like stop and rest and take a breath, and they don't keep pushing. I mean, how many years? They just had the anniversary. How many years has it been since the Heller decision came down? We're still celebrating and going back to the Heller decision and McDonald, because that's what we have. That's all we have to crow about. How old are those decisions? How many rights have we piddled away since Heller was decided? But yet, and don't get me wrong, I don't want to in any way take away from Dick Heller or I can't think of the first name, but Heller or McDonald, either one. I don't want to take away from either one of those folks. But at the same time, I mean, why don't we have anything recent? Why did we let it get this bad? But why haven't we had these conversations? I keep saying that I don't think we'll ever be a unified front because by nature we're independent. We want to be left alone. We want to do our own thing our way. That's who we are as gun community or gun culture or 2A culture people, right? So it's going to be hard for anybody to rally together the troops under one banner. I get that, but this war isn't going to be won in the Supreme Court. Those decisions are going to help, but this war is going to be won with two people sitting down, having a meal and having a discussion, who know each other, value each other's opinions, and are willing to listen to each other's opinions as well. This war is going to be won just by regular people having a conversation, saying, hey, I heard some crazy stuff on the news last night, or whatever you're going to say. It really struck me as odd that anybody would say this, because here's why. It struck me as odd anybody would say no amendment is absolute, when every amendment is absolute. I can't think of one that isn't absolute off the top of my head. And start naming amendments and giving some examples, and what you can, who you're talking to, if you can push the issue or if you got to let it go. But I mean, at the same time, it's like, we've got to have these discussions one-on-one or one-on-two, or even small groups, coffee shop discussions, I always say, because in small town Nebraska, the old guys get together in town in the afternoon and sit around and drink coffee at the gas station or restaurant, whatever it is. We've got to have these coffee shop discussions from Americans, with Americans, by Americans, and just get this thing out to where people are talking about it, get them fired up, let them realize, or get them to realize that those of us that are pro 2A, I say pro 2A warriors. I mean, we are Second Amendment advocates, activists. We are the ones that are trying to get the word out and have the discussions and just educate our fellow Americans on what their rights actually are. I mean, again, the whole point is we want people to know what their rights are so that they know what they're losing. If we lose the second, the rest of them topple very easily. These arguments, just like the bump stock argument wasn't about the bump stock, the 2A argument isn't about the 2A. It's about liberty, freedom as we know it, and this country no longer being the United States of America at the rate we're going. We've got to have these discussions online, in person, whatever it is, on social media. Yeah, use discretion. Social media it can be a real, I know what I would normally say, but it can be a real cluster. And so you kind of got to watch yourself on social media sometimes, but we've got to have these discussions, and we've just got to talk about the truth, what's actually right. Things are going to happen the way they're going to happen.
I think we are using social media when we're doing shows like this. It's just, you got to be careful that the show doesn't turn into an echo chamber, or you got to be careful about censorship within our own organization, and we're no better than the people we're complaining about once again. And when you say things like the war will be won, the war will never be won. 400 years from now, if there's still a Second Amendment and there's still the United States of America, there's going to be push back and forth over, open or concealed carry of phasers. All right.
I agree. Poor choice of words on my part.
And that's something where I say that
battles will be
words don't hurt unless you let them, but language is important. And sometimes I have to backpedal. That's why I was saying, when roll call was talking about culture instead of community, that's language,
Go ahead, Derek.
That's just a lot to listen to. I just, it comes down to is you got to be able to have a message that people are going to want to listen to. Like, I don't know if Squib has a channel, I would not tune into that because of the way he sounds. I understand the emotion. I respect the emotion, but it gets lost on attracting someone to his cause.
And I'm not trying to attract anyone to my cause.
Well, I mean, that's the problem. That's the problem. And
no, it isn't.
So,
but here's another thing is, people like Derek and Squib need to be able to have these discussions, and they're both respectful, whether or not you guys know each other. I mean, you're both respectful to me enough that you can talk about it right here and not get at each other. Right. But we need to learn that it's okay to disagree. We're not all going to agree. We all agree on the big stuff. We don't always agree on the methods, but we're all trying to get the ball across the same goal line.
I've been on shows where it's turned into a heated discussion, a heated debate, and then the host is like, we need to change topics, or we need to move on. It's like, no, this isn't about ratings. Okay, if somebody thinks we're playing a part in order to get more people to tune in, no, this is bringing it to the surface. This is talking about it. This is, even if we're raising our voices, even if we're arguing, whatever, it doesn't matter. We're doing more than just echo chamber. Yep, host is right. Yep, everything the host is right.
The whole reason that I'm here is so that we can start discussions, whether in here or out there, from the people that listen to it in here. So it's what I want. I don't want heated debates. I don't want arguments. I will do my best to moderate, but again, exchange of ideas is good. And it's not like Derek and Squib are going to change each other's mind. We know that. That's okay. But people listening may not know how they feel about a certain topic until it's discussed. Sometimes I don't know how I feel about a topic that I bring up until Derek or Squib or Defense Dad or somebody says something to me that makes me think, well, I hadn't thought about it from that angle. So it's okay.
Well, and I'll just say this. So it's obvious that the two of them disagree on this. I mean, correct? Sure. But they're having a conversation about it. The other side is this. Most of this country, or not, I just shouldn't say most, but a lot of this country has lost the ability to sit down and have a conversation with someone they disagree with, and at least hear that the other person's side of it. As soon as you disagree with someone, it's like you're this, you're that. I mean, you're just a horrible person. Like that. That's part of what we got to do, is have those conversations with people. So you can get back to, I guess, what I consider normalcy or common sense. Like I've had debates with friends and family. I disagree with a lot of the stuff with a lot of my family. Oh, hang on a second. Cat problems. But at the end of the day, we still get together for family get-togethers and call each other and text each other and everything else. A lot of this country has lost the ability to do that. So at least these guys are disagreeing, but they're having a conversation.
Yeah, and that's okay. And we're going over a little bit longer than what I had planned on. And so we are going to wrap things up. It's not because of what's going on between panelists or anything like that, because again, I want to thank both of you for being respectful to each other, and both of you being able to talk about where you're coming from. And even if you're not going to agree, I know that both of you are listening to what the other one is saying. And that's all. You guys are setting the example that I want to set in here, which is why I have these. And for far too long, this podcast has been, in a lot of instances, on a lot of nights, it's been an echo chamber, because I haven't had anybody who is on the panel who doesn't see things the way that I see them. And that's okay. And Squib and I have talked about this at length. And Squib, I know you don't always pop in here because you don't always want to, throw a grenade in the room and then pop out or whatever. I get that too. But, again,
no, I don't
knows that I am
up in there because of the time that it's on. Like, I'm at work, right? Right now, the people are looking at me going, "Who's he talking to?" Right? So that's one thing. The other thing is, I really don't like the format of your show. To be honest, I don't. No, okay. You're my friend, and it's your show, not mine. But I don't like the format of your show. No, I don't come on. But I think that if I come on too much, not liking the format of your show and being interrupted by work, I'm not really being very productive, and I'm taken away from other people. So I just come in every now and then just to throw a grenade in the room. Maybe, sure, I'll go with that.
I don't think that's what you're doing at all. But like I said, there are times that, whether work allows it or the topic is something that you're just willing to, you've got something that you do want to say. I mean, you don't come in here intentionally just to fire people up or to troll, which is what I meant by that.
This is how I really am. This is really me. I'm not. I don't go, hey, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have the opposite opinion of everybody else.
Right.
Because I want to. No, that's because I think independently. I don't follow the herd. And I've been doing this a lot longer than most of you. So my point of view is way different.
So again, I mean, like I said,
I've reached 22,000 kids.
I just like to have
and taught them, actually.
So yeah, I mean, so we are going to call it, and we're going to wrap things up. And like I said, it's not because of anything that's gone on between anybody here. I want to make that clear. But it's getting late, and I want to get this wrapped up. So we do have we've got a few comments out there, but I don't think there's anything crazy that I need to specifically really get into. But I mean, just to recap, pick an amendment, and it's, in my mind, it's absolute. And you don't have to agree with me. Anybody that disagrees is welcome to throw comments out there, either in the live chat, or if you're catching this on the replay, go ahead and comment, down below too. I want to know what your position is. But in my mind, that none of these, or all of these amendments rather, are absolute. Otherwise, they wouldn't do us any good if they weren't. It'd be like watching a sports game where, how do I say this? It's not just having a bad ref. It's the ref having the authority to decide when and when not to call a travel, or when not to call, whatever it is, a double dribble in basketball or something like that. I mean, the rule is the rule. How it's interpreted by the referee is a human, subjective thing, but the rule is objective. The law, the amendment is objective. It's absolute. How it's interpreted, not always. We're humans, but that human element was built into the Constitution. The amendment process was built in because of the human element. That's why we have it. So real quick, we'll give everybody a chance just to have any closing thoughts, and then, of course, your shameless plugs where people can find you, and we'll wrap it up. But before I do, I just want to again thank John Petrolino for helping us go live on YouTube and Facebook. Today's show is brought to you by Decoding Firearms, an easy-to-read guide on general gun safety and use, which you can see the picture up in the top right corner if you're watching on your screen. And I know Travis has got one handy too that he might put up on the camera. But Decoding Firearms is a comprehensive guide to aid new shooters and veterans alike to get up to speed on the safe use of guns. With over 115 illustrations and 266 pages of content, this book is very comprehensive. If you're interested in learning more about Decoding Firearms, you can visit johnpetrolino.com/decoding-firearms, which is up on the screen if you're watching us. And again, if you're on audio, catch us live or go catch us on YouTube or Facebook. You can see what's going on the screen. Decoding Firearms is available for sale on Amazon as a paperback or a full-color Kindle version. Be sure to pick up a few copies for your friends and family members that want to get into the shooting world. Decoding Firearms, get yours today. So again, that's how we're able to go live, because it's not free, the ability to go live in multiple places. So very, very much appreciate what's going on there. So all right, we will just go around the horn real quick and let everybody, like I said, have the floor real quick for any closing thoughts and stuff like that. Squib may or may not be. He's been popping in and out. Of course, he's at work, and I know his phone and StreamYard don't get along very well either. So we may get back to him. Yep, there he is. Squib, we'll let you go while you're in here real quick. Any closing thoughts? Oh, maybe not. There he is.
It's locked up. You can't hear me?
I can hear you now.
We can hear you now.
Okay. The whole screen is locked.
Okay.
Yeah,
we can hear you.
I'm not a big fan of StreamYard on mobile. Oh, okay.
I know.
I'm not a big fan of StreamYard on mobile. Yeah, I've pretty much said everything that I wanted to say, and maybe some things that I didn't think. I don't know. Maybe I went too far. Oh, well, who cares? Thanks. See you later.
Yeah, it's okay. If I ever have a problem with you, you'll know about it. It's all good. Thanks for being here, Squib, and bringing a different viewpoint to the table. So, Travis, you were the next last one in. Where can people find you? And, of course, any closing thoughts you have?
Yeah, just check out my YouTube channel, Travis P11. Got a little podcast we do Saturday mornings called Caliber Corner at 8 a.m. where we tend to talk guns and ammo and a little bit of everything. It's a good time. 8 a.m. Central Time, the most important time zone on the planet. Just real quick, M. Gabriel's got a comment out there, and he says, the war will never be won. And I don't disagree with you. It's going to be impossible to change every heart and mind to see the truth, right? But we don't want to quit fighting those battles. And I think that's the most important thing. I think we got a little lax and a little lazy during the Trump presidency, and that's kind of where we got weak. We got comfortable with where we were in our fight for our rights, but we can't give up, especially now. So you got to keep doing what you gotta do. So keep it up.
Right.
All I gotta say. Yeah.
Yep, you betcha. All right. Thanks for being here tonight, Travis. Glad glad you're able to make it at least through the summer, and hopefully the rest of the Thursday nights as well. Defense Dad,
Just
Any
send me a
closing
reminder,
thoughts?
and then I'll get in the habit of remembering to come here. So
I'll try.
I have trouble looking at a calendar in the summertime. I got to really be honest with you, man.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, no problem.
All right.
It's all good. Defense Dad, closing thoughts, and where can people find you? And any new videos that you're about to drop?
Just the one I dropped today, and I'll warn you, it's a little clickbaiting. It's a little bit longer than my normal videos, but it's really about it's a video about conversations and choices, and I'll leave it at that. But thanks for having me. You know, it was a good conversation. I'm fairly impressed with myself just because I was able not to cuss. Which when sometimes shows like this, like I don't cuss on I bleep it out when I do it on my videos, but I have a bit of a potty mouth when I'm riled up. So yeah, thanks for having me. Check out everybody else's channels, and yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, well, thanks for being here. All right, and then last but certainly not least, Derek, where can people find you, and do you have anything you want to say about amendments being absolute before we go?
Well, I want to choose my words a little bit more carefully than I did previously, and I apologize for my outburst. It wasn't very like me.
I didn't see anything that I took as disrespectful. So go ahead.
And I mean, ultimately, we're all invested in the movement, and the movement is going forward, and it's finding our lane and how we contribute to that lane that helps everyone, right? And I know my lane. I'm in my lane for the most part, and obviously my lane deals with the kids. So obviously, you can find us. All of our stuff on, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, on our website, kidssafefoundation.org. And, so that's kind of my contribution to the movement is being able to reach the next generation and get them informed and safe and involved in the shooting sports. So I appreciate the opportunity here.
You bet. And thanks for being here. And then real quick, I threw the website out there in the comments, but is it the right website? Is it Kids Safe or Kid Safe?
It's two S's. It's two S's. KID.
Okay, well, disregard those. Let's try this again real quick before I go too much farther. Sandhills shooter at gmail.com. So I get it. Two S's in the middle of that too.
Yeah.
There. Let's do that second link. That'll actually get you to the right place. That is what Derek does.
Thank you.
Yep, working on teaching gun safety and responsibility to kids everywhere. The only acceptable goal is 0 firearm accidents, correct? Did I say it right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool. And again, thank you very much for being here tonight. So who did we have out there in the chat? Let me see if I can get to everybody. On the Facebook side, I only saw Joe Goebel out there commenting on during the live portion anyway. On the YouTube side, we had Kingpin, Gunpowder Beauty, MKJO, Pat Hirsch was here for a little bit. Blitz was out there, Jason Stewart, and Travis P11 out there and in here both. Who else did we have? Blitz was there quite a bit, looks like, talking up a storm. Roll Call 219, Ro was in the house. G23, M. Gabriel, and Wheeled and Well Armed made it here before we were done. Joe Goebel Jr., which could be the same Joe Goebel that was on Facebook. I'm not entirely sure. So thank you, all of you, for catching up to us and watching us on the live side. We appreciate it. Again, you can catch us on the audio version just about any place you can find a podcast. Google and Apple and TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, finally got up on Pandora, Stitcher, Anchor.fm, all kinds of fun places. So go find us there, whatever your favorite podcast app is. Trying to get it up on, is it on Amazon or on Audible or whatever that is too, seeing what I can do there. But still working on some of those. So go check it out, whatever your favorite podcast place is. Or if you just like to share the YouTube video link or the Facebook post link, please do so. These are available forever, at least until I get kicked off one or the other, which I didn't think was probably ever going to happen the way that I'm going, but I don't know anymore. I keep getting hit with posts that are 6 months old or more that, are funny, but apparently are about things that you can't joke about. And so I don't know how many strikes I can get before one day I wake up and I don't have a Facebook page anymore. So I guess we'll see. But I've got plans in place. I don't have a backup page yet, but I think I'll probably get one made so I can direct people to it if I need to. Same thing with the YouTube side. I've got the backup channel ready to go. I just haven't ever directed anybody to it. So that's about it. Again, if you're in the Omaha area, or you know somebody who's in the Omaha area, or you're willing to travel to the Omaha area, July 25th, Sunday, July 25th, 2021, Tony Simon and the second is for everyone will be in town for a diversity shoot. Diversity shoot is coming to Nebraska. So go check that out. Go find the Nebraska Firearms Owners Association channel or Facebook page. Catch the live video that we posted Monday night talking to Tony. We still need some volunteers, and we're trying to get some raffle prizes and stuff lined up. So anybody that wants to make donations as far as that goes, get a hold of NFOA at info@nebraskafirearms.org. And you can do all that stuff too. So in the meantime, we're going to call it a night. Thank you to all of you who joined us tonight live. Special shout out to my beautiful bride, who I did not see out in the comments tonight, but I do believe she was watching. At least she started. I don't know if she's still with us or if she's asleep by now, but she's working on feeling better. She had a doctor appointment today, and they're going to get her on some potassium to maybe help that energy level come back a little faster, and get some stuff going on to maybe help the taste buds come back a little bit better too. She feels okay, other than stuff just doesn't taste right, and she just doesn't have energy or strength. So that's coming back slowly but surely, but emphasis on the slowly. So those of you who have been praying, please don't stop. Keep that up. The prayers definitely are helping. You don't have to agree with that, but I believe it. And those of you that do pray, please do so. We appreciate it. Keep them coming if you have been. She's still got a long road ahead of her to get her immune system built back up and everything else. So keep those prayers going, because I know they're working. Whether people agree with me or not, that's up to you. So with that, we're going to call it a night. Thank you, everybody, for being here. God bless all of you. We love you. See us again. We're going to keep this Thursday night thing going. There will be a night late in July that I have a work thing and we can't do it. So stay tuned. But in the meantime, same bat time, same bat channel next week, Thursday night, 8 o'clock. Hoping to get a friend of mine to come talk about his new company, Undivided Unity. It's a clothing company, well, clothing and other stuff, but he's all about just bringing communities back together and not caring what the news says, and just saying that, hey, you know what, we're all humans, and we can all get along, because there's no reason not to. So hopefully I can get Silas in here, and we can kind of learn about what he's doing with Undivided Unity. So go check that out. Undivided U, letter U, undividedu.com, I think is his website. You can check that out early. So anyway, that's what's happening. Hopefully next week, we're trying to get that locked in. I'll get that posted up as soon as I know for sure. In the meantime, you guys, it's time for you to get off my lawn.